Welcome to Bible in a Year with Scott Purcell. I'm so glad you're joining me. This is a daily reading of portions of the Bible, following a plan that will include the entire Bible in a year. And now, let's open the book and begin our readings.
This is the reading for day 190. If your reading is aligned with the calendar year and a non-leap year, this is for July 9th. Or in a leap year, for July 8th. The Old Testament reading is from 2 Kings chapter 18 and 2 Kings 19, ending at verse 13. 2 Kings 18. It happened in the 3rd year of Hoshea the son of Elah, king of Israel, that Hezekiah the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, became king. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. The name of his mother was Abi, the daughter of Zechariah. He did right in the eyes of Yahweh according to all that David his ancestor had done. He removed the high places, and he smashed the stone pillars. He cut down the poles of Asherah worship, and demolished the bronze serpent that Moses had made. For up to those days the Israelites were offering incense to it, and called it Nehushtan. He trusted in Yahweh, the God of Israel. There was no one like him before or after among all the kings of Judah. He held on to Yahweh. He did not depart from following him, and he kept his commands that Yahweh had commanded Moses. Yahweh was with him. Everywhere he went, he succeeded. He rebelled against the king of Assyria and did not serve him. He attacked the Philistines up to Gaza and its territory, from the watchtower up to the fortified city. It happened in the 4th year of King Hezekiah, that is, the 7th year of Hoshea the son of Elah, king of Israel. Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, came against Samaria and laid siege against her. At the end of 3 years, he captured it in the 6th year of Hezekiah, that is, the 9th year of Hoshea, king of Israel. Samaria was captured. Then the king of Assyria deported Israel to Assyria and settled them in Halah, in Habor, in the river regions of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes, because they did not listen to the voice of Yahweh their God, and they transgressed his covenant. All that he had commanded Moses, the servant of Yahweh, they did not listen to, nor did they obey. In the 14th year of King Hezekiah, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all of the fortified cities of Judah and captured them. So Hezekiah, king of Judah, sent word to the king of Assyria at Lachish, saying, I have done wrong. Withdraw from me. What you impose on me I will bear. So the king of Assyria imposed on Hezekiah, king of Judah, 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. Then Hezekiah gave all of the silver found in the temple of Yahweh and in the storerooms of the house of the king. At that time Hezekiah cut off the doors of the temple of Yahweh and the doorpost which Hezekiah, king of Judah, had overlaid, and he gave them to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria sent the commander-in-chief, the chief eunuch, and the chief adviser from Lachish to King Hezekiah at Jerusalem with a heavy army. They went up and came to Jerusalem. Then they went up and came and stood at the aqueduct of the upper pool, which is on the main road of the washer's field. Then they called to the king. So Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, who was over the palace, Shebna, the secretary, and Joah, the son of Asaph the recorder, came out to them. Then the chief adviser said to them, Please say to Hezekiah, Thus says the great king, the king of Assyria, What is this confidence that you trust? You think only a word of lips. I have advice and power for the war. Now on whom do you trust that you have rebelled against me? Now look, you rely on the staff of this broken reed, on Egypt, which, when a man leans on it, it goes into his hand and pierces it. So is Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, for all who are trusting on him. But if you say to me, On Yahweh our God we trust, is it not he whose high places and altars Hezekiah removed? And he had said to Judah and to Jerusalem, In the presence of this altar you shall bow down, only in Jerusalem. So then, please make a wager with my lord, with the king of Assyria, and I will give to you 1,000 horses if you are able on your part to put riders on them. How can you repulse a single captain among the least of the servants of my master? Yet you rely for yourself on Egypt for chariots and horsemen. Have I now come up against this place without Yahweh to destroy it? Yahweh has said to me, Go up against this land and destroy it. Then Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and Shebna and Joah said to the chief commander, Please speak to your servants in Aramaic, for we are understanding. But you must not speak Judean with us in the ears of the people who are on the wall. The chief commander said to them, Is it solely to your master and to you my master has sent me to speak these words? Is it not for the men who sit on the wall to eat their feces and drink their urine with you? Then the chief commander stood and called with a great voice in Judean. And he spoke and said, Hear the word of the king, the great king of Assyria. Thus says the king, Do not let Hezekiah deceive you, for he will not be able to rescue you from my hand. Do not let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahweh, saying, Certainly Yahweh will rescue us, and this city shall not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Do not listen to Hezekiah, for thus says the king of Assyria, Make with me a treaty of peace, and come out to me, that each may eat from his vine, and each from his fig tree, and each may drink water from his cistern, until I come and take you to a land like your land, a land of grain and new wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of olive trees, olive oil, and honey, that you may live and not die. You must not listen to Hezekiah, for he has misled you by saying, Yahweh will deliver us. Did the gods of each of the nations ever rescue the land from the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath and Arpad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim, Hena, and Ivya? For did they rescue Samaria from my hand? Who among all of the gods of the countries have rescued their countries from my hand, that Yahweh should rescue Jerusalem from my hand? The people were silent, and they did not answer him a word, for the command of that king was saying, You shall not answer him. Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, who was over the palace, and Shebna the secretary, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder, came to Hezekiah with torn clothes, and they told him the words of the chief commander. 2 Kings 19. It happened that when King Hezekiah heard, he tore his clothes, and covered himself with sackcloth, and went to the temple of Yahweh. He sent Eliakim, who was over the palace, Shebna the secretary, the elders, and the priest, all clothed in sackcloth, to Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz. They said to him, Thus says Hezekiah, A day of distress, rebuke, and disgrace is this day, for the children are about to be born, but there is no strength to bear them. Perhaps Yahweh your God will hear all the words of the chief commander, whom his master the king of Assyria has sent to insult the living God, and he will rebuke the words that Yahweh your God has heard. Therefore lift up a prayer for the remainder who are left. So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah, and Isaiah said to them, Thus you must say to your master, Thus says Yahweh, You must not be afraid because the face of the words that you have heard, with which the servants of the king of Assyria have reviled me. Look, I am putting in him a spirit. He will hear a rumor and return to his land. Then I will cause him to fall by the sword in his land." When the chief commander returned, he found the king of Assyria fighting against Libnah, for he had heard that he had departed from Lachish. He heard about Tirhakah, the king of Cush, saying, "Look, he has set out to fight with you." So he again sent messengers to Hezekiah, saying, "Thus you shall say to Hezekiah the king of Judah, Let not your God whom you are trusting deceive you by his saying, Jerusalem shall not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Look, you have heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all the lands by utterly destroying them, and shall you be delivered? Did the gods of the nations that my predecessors destroyed deliver them? Not Gozan, Haran, Rezeph, nor the children of Eden who were in Tel Assar. Where are the king of Hamath, the king of Arpad, the king of the city of Sepharvaim, Hena, and Ivya?" The New Testament reading is from Acts chapter 27, beginning with verse 13 through verse 44. Acts 27:13. And when a southwest wind began to blow gently, because they thought they could accomplish their purpose, they weighed anchor and sailed close along Crete. But not long afterward, a wind like a hurricane, called the northeaster, rushed down from it. And when the ship was caught and was not able to head into the wind, we gave way and were driven along. And running under the lee of a certain small island called Cauda, we were able with difficulty to get the ship's boat under control. After hoisting it up, they made use of supports to undergird the ship. And because they were afraid lest they run aground on the Syrtis, they lowered the sea anchor, and thus were driven along. And because we were violently battered by the storm, on the next day they began jettisoning the cargo. And on the third day they threw overboard the gear of the ship with their own hands. But when neither sun nor stars appeared for many days, and with not a little bad weather confronting us, finally all hope was abandoned that we would be saved. And because many were experiencing lack of appetite, at that time Paul stood up in their midst and said, "Men, you ought to have followed my advice not to put out to sea from Crete, and thus avoided this damage and loss. And now I urge you to cheer up, for there will be no loss of life from among you, but only of the ship. For this night an angel of the God whose I am and whom I serve came to me, saying, 'Do not be afraid, Paul. It is necessary for you to stand before Caesar, and behold, God has graciously granted you all who are sailing with you. Therefore keep up your courage, men, for I believe God that it will be like this, according to the way it was told to me. But it is necessary that we run aground on some island.' And when the 14th night had come, as we were being driven in the Adriatic Sea, about the middle of the night, the sailors suspected they were approaching some land. And taking soundings, they found 20 fathoms. So going on a little further and taking soundings again, they found 15 fathoms. And because they were afraid lest we run aground against rough places, they threw down 4 anchors from the stern and prayed for day to come. And when the sailors were seeking to escape from the ship and were lowering the ship's boat into the sea, pretending as if they were going to lay out anchors from the bow, Paul said to the centurion and the soldiers, 'Unless these men remain with the ship, you cannot be saved.' Then the soldiers cut away the ropes of the ship's boat and let it fall away. And until the day was about to come, Paul was urging them all to take some food, saying, 'Today is the 14th day you have waited anxiously, and you have continued without eating, having taken nothing. Therefore I urge you to take some food, for this is necessary for your preservation. for not a hair from your head will be lost." And after he said these things and took bread, he gave thanks to God in front of them all, and after breaking it, he began to eat. So they all were encouraged and partook of food themselves. Now we were in all 276 persons on the ship. And when they had eaten their fill of food, they lightened the ship by throwing the wheat into the sea. Now when day came, they did not recognize the land, but they noticed a certain bay having a beach, onto which they decided to run the ship ashore if they could. And slipping the anchors, they left them in the sea, at the same time loosening the ropes of the steering oars. And hoisting the foresail to the wind that was blowing, they held course for the beach. But falling into a place of cross currents, they ran the ship aground, and the bow stuck fast and stayed immovable, but the stern was being broken up by the violence. Now the plan of the soldiers was that they would kill the prisoners, lest any escape by swimming away. But the centurion, because he wanted to save Paul, prevented them from doing what they intended, and gave orders that those who were able to swim should jump in first to get to the land, and then the rest, some of whom floated on planks, and some of whom on anything that was from the ship. And in this way all were brought safely to the land. The wisdom literature reading is from Psalm 82. Psalm 82, a psalm of Asaph. God stands in the divine assembly. He administers judgment in the midst of the gods. How long will you judge unjustly and show favoritism to the wicked? Judge on behalf of the helpless and the orphan. Provide justice to the afflicted and the poor. Rescue the helpless and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. They do not know or consider. They go about in darkness, so that all the foundations of the earth are shaken. I have said, you are gods, and sons of the Most High, all of you. However, you will die like men, and you will fall like one of the princes. Rise up, O God, judge the earth, because you shall inherit all the nations. This concludes the reading for day 190. Thank you for listening.
These daily readings are made possible by your generous support of the Global Outreach Ministry of Scott Purcell. To partner with us and enable this work and others like it, please visit huttobible.com/give and select Go Pastor Support from the fund list. You can also sign up for ministry updates at scott-purcell.epistle.org/subscribe. Both of those links can be found in the podcast description. Thank you for helping us share God's Word.